Well, hello, and welcome back. Oh, let me put some light on my face here. So we're back at the Auth project, and at this point, it's kind of I hesitate to say it's feature complete, but it's kind of sort of in the realm of feature complete. And so now we need to make some API decisions of how we're gonna how to finalize the API, because there's some parts of it where I've been like, this isn't named right, but I'm just gonna go forward. This doesn't feel quite right, but I'm just gonna go forward, because I wanted to get to the point where I had something that was working, that was demonstrable, that I could talk around, and now I've got that. And so now that I have that, the time has come to firm up some decisions and fix the little bugs and the little paper cuts and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is first grab myself a nice cold Mountain Dew. Supposedly, if you're ADHD, it actually helps if you have people watching while you work. And caffeine makes me go to sleep, which supposedly is another thing of ADHD. But I found that if you at least have as much water as you're having soda. So if I'm having a 12-ounce can of soda, 12 ounces of water, but this is 24, then you can get it to work the way that it's supposed to. So, cheers. Feel a little bit like, hey Mitch, it's only noon. Give me a minute to wake up, sweetheart. Hunger Games reference for those of you that don't know. All right. Let me go ahead, and I'm just going to consolidate some windows here. Let me bring this down. Cancel this out. Clear it. Same thing here. Let's just clear this out. Whoops. Oh, I think I know what that's about. Yeah, let's see. All right. Let me see. Where do we leave off that we didn't save? Oh, I didn't commit yesterday. Let me go ahead and commit real quick. That's kind of an important thing to do. Oh, also, didn't do my little intro. I'm A. O'Neill. I'm going to be your Beyond Code Liver today. And if you want to leave questions or comments, I've got them open both on Twitch and YouTube. So, let's see. Yep. I don't know what to call this commit other than this would be one of those made progress commits. Oh, okay. I did a lot here with that. No, I didn't. I did not do much there with the UI. Let me just check and see. What are the number of files we've got here? Okay, that file didn't exist before. Yeah, I think I'm just going to add everything. I don't think anything is too specific. I'm just going to go with magic link browser demo plus general updates. There we go. Let's go ahead and get that pushed. That makes me scared. Let me get check out whip2 here. Whip. No tracking information for the current branch. Well, let's see. Did I not push? I may not have pushed this. I think I referenced having not pushed it. Get pushed SU origin whip. No. Okay, well that doesn't make any sense. Get pull origin whip. All right, cool. What was the change that went in there? Update readme. Get diff whip 2. Oh. Oh, okay. It was just a change to the readme. Cool. All right. I'm down. Everything's cool. Gosh, I was thinking it was like the old branch, because I reused the name whip over and over again. I just delete the branch, force push over it. There we go. Cool. So I've got both of these in a decent place. Again, using watchexec, you can get that at webinstall.dev/watchexec, along with tons of other good developer tools. Webinstall.dev. All the best tools are there. All the best of them. Okay, let me actually bring this up a little bit. Just kind of get my windows organized here. And then we're going to get on to some of the hard stuffs. So there was an issue open for, well, this one is related. Yeah. So I'm actually going to close this out in just a second here. Let me get these issues up. Request for documentation. Closing in favor of. There we go. I don't need that issue open because this doesn't say anything unique. But I need to firm up the API. That's where we're at. I need to, towards the end of the day, need to be doing some more integration work. And I want that to be more permanent-ish. So one rough change that needs to be made here is this get ID claims / get users / get access claims is not, it doesn't feel right, but I've been thinking about it, had some shower thoughts, and I think I've come to a good conclusion. So by the way, I titled this Emergent API Design and 1,000 Paper Cuts, because that's basically where we're at. So you want to build towards the product, and you want to get to a point where you have something that works. But what often happens is that, you know, we go from red to green, don't have it, doesn't work, have it, it works. We often skip the refactor. Are things named in a way that makes sense? Is this ergonomic? Is this something that I'm going to want to use? And so that refactor step is really important. And that is, emergent design only works if you're going to take the time to refactor, occasionally. You work on something for 4 hours, you refactor for an hour, or you work on it for 8 hours, you refactor for 2 hours. It's probably something in the realm of 25% of your time is refactoring. But anyway, we want to take the time to refactor this because we want it to be good and usable, and we don't need to get it perfect, but we want to get it more correct as we go. And that's what I'm working on now. So I'm going to go to where we have this get ID claims, and this is just going to be a little bit tedious, but this is the first one. Really, what this should be is I don't know what the name of it should be, but I know more what it should look like. So if we scroll down here, I had some thoughts on this. Let's see. Actually, this was not the one that I thought it was, but that's okay. Inconsistent, error handler, readme example for authorization. Huh, that's weird. I hope that I had this saved somewhere. Was that the place where it was? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go forward. Anyway, so what I need to do, the purpose of this function is when you're using this library, you need a way to tell the library, this is the information based on what I've been given. This is the information that I want to be in the tokens for that user. And I think I'm just going to search in the issues here for, I think it was ID underscore claims. Let's see. Timeout option. Oh, this is. Oh, okay, yeah. So these two are together. I'm gonna. Let me mark this other issue as related. Oh, whoops. Actually, I should have left that issue open. Okay. Closing in favor of this one. because this right here really needs to go in here. This is all the same discussion. There we go. And a little pedantic, but I'm just going to document where this came from so I can follow the thread if I need to. And then let's just indent these. Oops. I don't need to indent everything, but I just want to make sure this is quote. Cool. Yeah. So basically, what I need to do is there are a couple of different reasons that this gets used. If you're doing Google sign-in, then it's going to look like this. If you're doing cookie refresh tokens, it's going to look like this. If you're doing Magic Link, it's going to look like this. So the same thing gets used in a couple of different places, and it's called with some sort of details about the user having been authenticated, or their email having or phone number having been verified, or they can be opaque values, for example, username, password, API token, that kind of stuff. The person that's using this library could fill it in with whatever. That makes it confusing. But we need to make some decisions here. Or not. We need to make a decision on it and document it. And I think what I'm going to do is I thought this idea was kind of cool. This is actually a lot easier to understand just looking at it. You know, we want to get, it shouldn't be called session, but maybe session info or session claims .by ODC, .by credentials, .by cookie, etc. But I think instead what I'm going to do is basically method, OIDC, method credentials, method cookie, method token, method identifier verification, or I guess I could call that Magic Link. But anyway, yeah, I need to clean this up. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to say we're not going to have these get ID claims as such. We're going to have all right, I'm just going to call it something for right now, and it's going to be one thing so I can change the name of it later. But it is a get claims, grant user, yeah, get ID. Word. User grants, grant user, get permissions, maybe. Get access, it is get claims, that's what it is. I'm just going to call it get claims, that's what it is. It's unfortunate because that's not common parlance, and I need to talk with somebody else to see if maybe there's a better name that is common parlance. But that's what it is. It's get claims. I want to say, hey, here's, or maybe I could call it login. That might be an appropriate name for it as well. But what it needs to do is get claims. I think login user, get user. Yeah, I'm just going to move forward with that. I don't want to take too much time with it. So if not, get claims. Doot. You must provide a callback function for get claims. I think I will get on a call later today and ask a buddy of mine what his thoughts are on this as far as what the name ought to be. You know, kind of explain what I've explained here a little bit and say, what should we call this? What will make sense for this? All right. We also got a problem here with key pair. It should actually be called private key. Yeah. That's one of the 1,000 paper cuts to do. Paper cut. Key pair versus private key. The idea is that a key pair object would be from the key pairs library, and a private key could be a string that is in PEM or JWK JSON format. So but that's not what I want to focus on right now. Right now, I want to focus on this get claims and what it should be. And there's, get ID claims. So await claims, if not issuer, sure. And maybe it does need to be like that. Get claims. Get claims. Get claims. Get claims. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Get ID claims. So we do have this thing where we do want to fill out some values. If they're not given, we want to have some defaults. Yeah, and I might even call this get expanded claims or get claims with defaults or something like that. Just 1 second here. Move some stuff out of the way. Give myself a little more space. All right. So we definitely want to set the issuer, but this should not give back claims like that. It should give back, because what I'm thinking is it should look more like this. ID claims, access claims, and session claims, refresh claims. And then for each of those, it should have the same logic, essentially. ID claims, access claims, refresh claims, dot for each. Claims. I think that's decent. All right, and then we want to return the same thing here. That seems about right. But we won't always get all of these. So if not claims, then return, I guess. Maybe. And maybe there would be just claims. Maybe that would be fair to say these are claims that are going to go across the board. And then these are claims that are specific to this, that, or the other. I wonder if I can get this. I'd actually prefer the readability of it to be more like that. Nope. Prettier has its opinions, and sometimes we just gotta live with them. All right. In this one, we're just going to disappear it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to talk this over with my buddy, but I'm gonna move down this path because I think it's in the right direction for sure. All right. Let's go to the next place where it's used. So we've got get ID claims here, should just be claims. We could just, maybe we could call this all claims for simplicity's sake. All right, credentials, I actually don't want that here. And I don't want to call this claims. This is redundant. I'm going to call it claims 2 for now so that I can go through and rename it later. All right, but this one is going to be, what did they call it in OIDC? I think it's called something like user secret or client. No, it's not client secret. Is it user secret? There's some sort of name for the flow. We don't need to use that name, but I would like to. So what should I call this route? This is by credentials. Let's call it that. And let's go ahead. I'm going to move this up here, and I'll call this API routes. So I'm going to move the middleware out of here so we can kind of get this more of an at-a-glance view. And then I will call this one by OIDC. I think that's a perfectly valid name. Whoops. That is not a perfectly valid name, however. All right. So let's see. Grant token. I'm going to go ahead because what I want to do is I want my linter to give me errors on these things. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to all claims in here as I'm going about. Okay, normally I do not do this style of putting a variable name to a function. I think that function expressions used willy-nilly are kind of stupid. But in this particular case, I am going to use the function expression version because it lends to readability. As I look down, I can see this is by credentials, this is by ODC, so on and so forth. And I don't ever use const because const is stupid. Const isn't constant. So why would I want to call something const as in constant if it's a variable that can change? That doesn't make sense to me. So I just don't do it. I don't want to use like just completely unbelievably wrong names for things. Okay, so that's by cookie. Is that what this is? By refresh? Should not be by cookie, but by refresh. Well, I guess let's see. Verify session. By session, by cookie. It doesn't matter what I call it that much because this is not external anyway. Now this is definitely the logout function. So let's say logout. Sure, why not? This should either be towards the bottom or the top. And this one is by ID token. And then I need a by API token as well. But I'm not going to worry about that today, I don't think, because it's not of immediate concern. But I think that that'll make sense and it'll be good. So we're going to do get claims here. Again, all claims. All claims. And I do need for each of these to put in with the get claims for each of these, I do need to have some sort of way of identifying. I'm just going to call it method for now. but I'm going to call it method 2 because as a signal to go rename it. But we're going to call this one ID token or JWT. Let's call it JWT. We're going to call this, that's logout. So this actually should go down below. And where do I have it in the routes? It would make sense to me just to put logout near the bottom. Yeah. I think that makes the most sense to put it at the bottom, because all of these are ways of logging in, and the way of logging out can go to the bottom, and that's fine. So anywhere I have get claims, I want to have a method that's going to be passed to describe what the applications that's using this library can expect. So I could call this cookie, I could call it refresh. I think I'll call it refresh because that's a little bit more generic. And what is this one? OIDC. So that's stuff like Google Sign-In, OpenID Connect. That's what it stands for. And this one is credentials. I'm going to have to figure out something for that when we get to the two-factor authentication. But I think, you know, numbers are cheap. So I think we're going to make a V1 of this. And it's just going to be V1. And it's going to have certain features. And maybe when I add two-factor authentication, I don't have to make any breaking changes, in which case that'll be V1.1 or 1.2 or whatever it is. But if I have to make breaking changes, it's just going to go to V2. But I think after these changes, hopefully it'll be the right time. Oh, and actually this by credentials is not actually implemented. This is one thing that we didn't actually get to we're not testing this in the browser at all, and we should. So I do want to come back to that. But the two-factor authentication thing is one where I guess the magic link could still be used for two-factor authentication. I don't know. That stuff gets messy isn't the right word, but it's not something that's implemented everywhere, and so sometimes it's difficult to reason about it. There's lots of patterns that are not familiar to most people. And the two-factor authentication pattern is something that people understand when they use it, but I don't think that it's well known. Oh, this is this is a really good way to implement two-factor authentication on the back end. Which, and many sites don't implement it. Anyway, I got to think about that. I think it's going to be related to this by credentials. I think the by credentials and by magic link are almost identical in some ways. But let's see here. I really definitely want numero uno ought to be BioIDC because it's good. I think a good thing. I'm just going to restructure these a little bit. Wait, by cookie, BioIDC. Uh-oh, did I actually accidentally delete something? Where did the magic link go? Oh, it's here. Oh, it just looks awkward. Okay. Okay, by credentials, by cookie. What was this one I had? By ID token. Yeah, I'll just put that there. Log out. Okay, and then let's put these in roughly the same order. Well, the cookie parser needs to come first, I think. Maybe it doesn't. because I only need it in a couple of places. Was it signed cookies? It's only one place, verify session. And where's that used? Only in one place, which is by cookie, right? By cookie. So I guess I could trim the fat on this and say the only place the cookie parser is actually needed is right here. All right. And then this magic thing, this looks a little wonky do. I'm actually going to pull this out and call this by code, maybe. Because I think magic link is too kind of fluffy, I guess, of a term. All right, it's essentially by credentials. There we go. Oh, Let me go check. What are the actual routes that are used here? I want to clean these up as well. By challenge. That actually might make more sense. There's another word for this. Is it by challenge? By challenge is actually more specific than by code, I think. All right, must provide a callback function for get claims. Good, 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 good. So getting some nice errors here. Get ID. Nope, no more of that. Get access. Nope, no more of that. All right, let's go through magic here. Do the same thing. Let me check. What is this about? Hold on just one second. All right, so we're not going to have get ID claims. We're just going to have get claims. All right. And method here is going to be, I wish there was a way, there probably is a way, but I want there to be a way to move part of this magic link stuff into the other files so that it's all in one place. But there's just so many pieces of this that's kind of difficult. Let's see, method is, what are we going to call this? Challenge. So this all needs to be documented in the README. And this is the claims too, right? And we'll call, wait, I was calling this thing method too, right? Yeah, because I'm not sure what I want it to be yet. So what are we saying here? This is the challenge complete. And the other one, I don't think these should have different names. There might be some sort of indicator that I want to put on here. Whoops. I might want to put some sort of indicator as to which part this is, because we may want to have to differ between, let's see, the device on which we open the email versus the device on which we were intending to log in. We might want to have different session properties there. I don't think so, though. I think it's fine to call this challenge in both places. Okay, so we got to get claims. Change the name of our get claims to get all claims. I mean, all claims. That's fine. Oh, you know what, though? I'm going to go back. So here, this is deceptive. I could be wrong about what I'm about to show you. But see how I put cookie parser here? I think that cookie parser actually does need to go up here because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think cookie parser is a deceptive and incorrect name. I think that cookie parser actually refers to the cookie signer as well. And I could test that and find out for certain. In fact, I'll put a little question mark here. Because it may be. It may be that that's not the case. In which case it would be fine to put the cookie parser, if it is just a parser, only needs to be used here. So another thing, while I'm looking at this, another thing that we want to make, oh, I don't think I actually want the error handler here. I think that was for demonstration. But what I was going to say is these prefixes, we might want to assign them to a different route or place. I'm kind of two minds about it. Because I think that it should have... I think I'm going to leave it like it is for now. We'll see. But I may come back later and make it so that it's possible to put a prefix in here. So I do something like prefix plus, like that. So that these could be arbitrary, but it just makes the code not read so well. I think it makes it more confusing. But here, I might test that out, because I think it makes sense here, in particular. Because this looks awkward now. But then again, it will anyway. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But this could look like this. And then have that there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to leave that as it is for now. Okay, and I do have comments open on Twitch and the YouTubes, so feel free to comment if you would like, and I'm just taking a look at those every so often just to see. All right. But for the sake of doing what we were doing elsewhere, no, that can stay there. That's kind of its own special case. And then this is so small that it kind of makes sense just to stay here. Put some comments in there just to make it pretty. I'll leave that without the name for now. Okay. Oh, this definitely. These need to get rid of this Google client ID should be passed in. So this should be if Google client ID and then we should have Google client ID, and then up here, where was I creating this all? Yeah, there's a number of environment variables that need to be cleaned up. Let's see. And really here, I don't like making things brand specific like this, but I guess this is the appropriate thing to do at this point. Because I'd rather this be more like a list of OIDC, and then you just pass in what the issuers are, HTTPS, accounts, dot, Google, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know that would work really well. All right, can we get this to do this? Sometimes I spend this time doing it, and then it just rejects me, and it's like, nope. I don't want you doing it that way, because I would prefer, yes, thank you. Halal. And no, I'm not Jewish. Which is funny, because halal is the way that you say kosher in, I don't know what language it actually is. I know it's used in Turkish. But it might come from Arabic or something like that, but it's just another word for kosher. And it's how the kids in Albania say cool. They're like, halal. Can you imagine that? Oh, this is such kosher something or other. I used to live in Albania. It was a different world back then than it is now. Now they have stoplights and stuff, I hear. I was there when they were putting in the first, I guess, interstate. They drained the swamp to put in the interstate. Or no, maybe they didn't drain it, they just rerouted it. Anyway. Okay, so let me get back here. We're looking at claims stuff. Claims. So we got all claims. Grant token. This really should be grant tokens, I think. Oh, bless me. Wait, that didn't even make sense. I just made a noise. Excuse me? Yeah, okay. I think grant token. Z. Alright, that's cool. None of those are going to work yet. That's fine. Let me go find all this. Occurrences, replace these. access token. Yeah, because the cookie is going to happen on the res object. Maybe I should bring that out. Just do refresh token and then if refresh token. I guess that makes it a little more generic. What do you think about that? I will think on it. That was weird. I don't know why that happened. Grant tokens. All right, well, let's see about get claims here. Am I using it in any special way? Claims to, method to, claims to. Other than that, it looks all right. I don't think I need that comment anymore. All right, so now we do have a way to pass longevity of cookie and token. So I'm going to get rid of that comment because the way that we're going to do it is by receiving back in all claims, ID claims, access claims, and refresh claims. So that to-do gets to done. Let's see what other to-dos we got here. Option that gets passed in. Yeah. What is the definition of expiry? Because I use that, I don't know if I use it the right way. Not that it matters that much, but I would like to use it the right way. Expiry, meaning the situation in which something that lasts for a fixed length of outcomes. So is it? It is a noun. Okay, that makes sense. I get that. I'm down. The situation in which the expiry date. So expiry age would be appropriate. What's the difference between expiry and expiration then? The end. Okay. So it would be appropriate. Okay, it would be appropriate just to say expiry. The end of the agreement could be the age. Okay. I know that's, again, it's somewhat pedantic, but it's good to use words that mean the thing that you think they mean. In my opinion. So we also could say challenge lifetime. I don't think that makes as much sense as expiry. All right, so that's going to have to go up the pipe a little bit. Move this development thing up to the top. This feels like environment-y stuff should go up to the top. It seems like private-ish stuff should come down a little bit. And then what are we actually doing here with key pair? Yeah, so if I have got this right. Okay, so we're just using it for the challenge. Let's see, whoops, what am I doing here? ML expiry age, do we even use that? ML is fresh. All right, what was this one? This is the token itself, right? JWT challenge token. Yeah. So I'm actually not convinced. I mean, other than the fact that it comes with an expiration age. Challenge expiry. Let's see now. ML expiry age. Is that what we're doing? So first of all, I actually expect this to be appropriate. Supported, and this needs to be documented. But the suffixes allowed, I think, are something like, I think it goes down as low as seconds, and then, so you could say 300 seconds, or 5 minutes, or 12 hours, or 30 days. That just needs to do, like, to do document. All right. I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't, rather than having this challenge token, because I don't want to pass the key in here if this is the only thing I need it for. Maybe rather than the challenge token, maybe I just put the ID here. And then I show back the, let's see, should do expires at. And then this should be, oh, junk garbage. This would be if I wonder if I have that parser. I could just leave it like that, I suppose. I think this is appropriate. Just have yeah, I could just, that's a signal. You know, the developer that's looking at this could understand what it means, but then the underscore, I use the underscore as a signal, which I think is pretty well understood in the community, that this is private. You know, you might be able to see it, but it's private. Don't rely on it. So that could work, and then I could just do the ID here, and then we could skip that whole bit. And then we've got the is fresh anyway, right? ML is fresh. Yeah. That'll probably work just fine. It's too bad Node doesn't have interfaces the way that Go does, where you just pass in a storer interface. A storer has a set and a get and a, whatever. But I guess that's essentially what we have here. Okay. All right. Grant token cookie. All right, let me go back to this one more time. Think on it one more time. Okay, let's say this is not the most frequent use case. We could just allow the store to be in memory. We could provide stores. We could provide default stores where it's like file and database. Actually, I would like that quite much. I'm gonna ask somebody about this real quick. Let's see, because I got a buddy who may have written, oh bless me, some code like this. Just one second. And I'll show you what my message is. And actually, maybe I'll write my message over here. So this is the message I'm writing. Do you have a wraparound SQL? I don't know if that's the way you spell it. SQLize for key value storage, something like this. Okay, that's the message that I'm going to send. There we go. Because if he does, which I think he does. I think he actually wrote one for a project I was working on a while ago. Well, that we were working on. It might be adaptable. But I just kind of, with this, I want to be able to provide some method of, well, actually, I'm going to have to wrap this around objection. So I guess it doesn't matter for the project I'm currently working on, but just generically, that'd be cool, but it's not something that I need to dedicate time to for this. But I do need to have, basically build a little store wraparound objection. I might do it the same way that I just described in that message. That seems reasonable. Okay, I kind of lost track of what I was doing. I'm going to hit undo. Nope. I'll just change. Already there. I think I was working in something like all claims. Yeah. We were looking at the challenges. Oh, I remember now. I was looking at challenge underscore token. And can I just get rid of this thing, use an ID instead? I think I'm just going to bite the bullet on it and say, yes, it lowers the complexity. Because what it does... Let's see. Can I... if I'm going to do that way, it's almost like I should allow them to change what function issues an ID and then how to verify the ID, which is essentially what we're doing here already, right? So let me just make sure here, key pairs, this is the only place we're using key pairs. Yeah, I just want to get rid of that dependency in here. I think that it's overcomplicating it. And then we have the ID. And challenge URL doesn't belong here. I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't know if this value should be secret. Okay, that is also a claims to type of thing. That's just arbitrary. Challenge redirects. I'll put in here to do consider built-in redirect. Yeah, I kind of think I want to support this use case. I think it's a good idea. So you just open up. No, maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Because I don't actually want to set the cookie without first prompting the person to ask them, do you want to remember this device? So if we do a straight up redirect, it will work for certain use cases. But the having the token passed in the URL and the application handling it is a better, well, better is subjective, but it's a more generic way to handle it that is going to work for my current use case. Okay, so I probably want to formalize this a little bit better. User agent. Let's call it that. I don't know. Bless me. That's not going across the wire. That's just internal JavaScript stuff, so that makes sense. Okay. I was talking about the camel casing versus non-camel casing. Alrighty. Claims to I don't know if I want to call this secret. I don't know what else to call it. But I do think I want to strip all of this out of these. I'm becoming more convinced that that's a decent idea. Okay. So notify. Then I think we should call, again, method. Well, not method. Yeah, method is challenge, but there needs to be something else. Okay. The claims to is where we're going to have the template or whatever it be. All right, I'm down with that. Should I call this ordered by maybe instead of user agent? No, I think user agent's good. Okay. So we got my random secret. So 128 bits, kind of the minimum that I like to go with. Could potentially go a little lower, like let's see, was it 12 is 96 bits? It's probably good enough for something that only lasts for let's go with 12 actually. 96 bits, good enough for 20 minutes. I mean, really, 64 bits is probably good enough for something that's only going to last 20 minutes. You can't make that many requests to the API. Well, if you have the ID, okay, this is where how long does it take to break? If you know the hash, how long does it take to break 96 bits? Let's see. That's not true. About 3 days or so. Okay. So that would be totally inappropriate. Because you could just get a bunch of computers. You know, you pay for 100 computers on Amazon, and then you could break it if you knew the hash. So if we did completely separate, so we did a random thing if we did random for the ID and random for the secret, then we're okay. So I think that's what I want to switch to, because then I can use much smaller codes that look much less ugly in a browser, and maybe choose hex so that it's easier to type for someone. Let's see. Yeah. Huh. Let's see. All right, I think it's fair to say that for this particular use case, I don't want a secret to ID type of scenario. Oh, but then the problem is that I need to provide both the secret and the ID on the other end. Which means I have to store the thing twice. Okay. So yeah, well, that's the same with that one. Let's see, we have 96 in here. Let's see, time to break 96 bit key. I'm just going to give up on this search in just a second. time to find a 96-bit hash. No, just hash. I'm just going to put a comment in here. Let's see, the secret. Do not set below 12. 12 bytes, 96 bits. Just one second. Okay. A 64-bit hash could easily be found in a moderate resources. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so the problem is not, because the problem is that if you had the ID, if the ID is a hash of the secret, and you have the ID, then you have something that can prove whether or not you found the secret, or at least narrow down the set of possible secrets to a number that could reasonably be done in a retry. You know, so if I can say within the 64-bit key space there are, you know, say 100 keys that give this hash value. Well, then maybe if we kept a salt that was secret, then maybe that would not be the case. If we salted it, and the salt was secret, I guess it would be more like peppered it. Because what I'm trying to think of is, could I make these values fairly short? And if I'm just doing, you know, if I'm doing a hash secret to produce the ID, that works for something that's long. 96 should be plenty long. 64 is not long enough. 128 is, you know, the universe will end, you know, kind of thing. So I want the ID. I just want it to not be easy, given the ID, to reverse the ID to the secret. That's what I want to prevent. But I want to have these tokens as short as possible so that they don't junk up the URL. And if I can, I'd actually like to have them in hex. So it'd be really cool if I could get this down to a very small number of characters. But I just need some sort of salt. And I guess the cookie secret would work just fine. So let me consider this here. I like this secret to ID. I'm going to use that for the cookie. Let's see, where was the cookie, my Bob? So I'm going to go with cookie secret here. I am going to do this. Okay, where was cookie secret? Cookie secret. We got the cookie secret. Okay. So where this is being used by challenge, let's pass in the cookie secret as well. I'm going to get rid of key pair. Just reduce that interdependency. We'll keep this named cookie secret. And we can use the cookie secret as a salt. Secret to ID. Okay. And in this case, we probably just want this to be ASCII, or let's say UTF-8, like so. That should be fine. There we go. I mean, I would expect the cookie secret to be something that we could reverse some base 64. But I'm not going to worry about it too much. So here we have salted the secret. Great. And then let's give this a bits. And we'll do bits divided by 8. And we'll do math.ceil, I think. Bits divided by 8 times 4/3. So 96 bits times, yeah. So that would be good. This is the base 64 to byte conversion right there. Okay, cool. Now I feel better about that. So let's say we want code. Now how low could I go on this? I guess it depends on the length of the cookie secret. So we'd say the cookie secret definitely should be 128 bits. That should just be standard size. So I should be able to look at the cookie secret and say, if it is less than 4/3 the size of 32, what's 4/3 times 32? Let's see. 4/3 times 32, because 32 bits, wait, no, 16, sorry. 21. So if it's less than 22 characters, then we could say, yeah, So what's the minimum? Okay, let's go, let me go back here. So 4/3 times the minimum we want is 96 bits. So yeah, if we just go back here, I kind of got a little bit of a tangent on this cookie thing, but ergonomics. I want the link that goes in the email and the URL to be as short as possible, but not insecure. So that's why I'm doing this. But if we go back to where we take the cookie secret, I would do this. All right, generating an ephemeral temporary secret. Let's see. We don't. How do I want to encourage people how to get their secret. So let's say let's do it this way. If cookie secret dot length less than 16, then I want to print to the screen. Well, I just want to throw an error. Oh, well, let's see. We'll do this. Console.log. Is less than 96 bits of entropy. Try this. Okay, this is what I'll do. If cookie secret and cookie secret dot length is less than 16, here's what we want to do. Give people do I want to put the tab there or there? That's the question. I think I actually want to put it here. So secure string. I'm just going to go over to the blog here, grab my secure random string, and suggest that. Wasn't there another one I have? Yeah, that'll be great. Ugh. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, this is so bad. Sure, whatever. Let's just go with it like this. And really it should be session secret, not cookie secret, because now we're using it for other things. Okay, and my buddy did get back to me with some sample code, which I think I'll put in an issue or something, and then get around to it later maybe. All right, cookie stuff. What should I call this instead of cookie secret? Sessions secret? HMAC secret? Digest secret? Salt? Cool. I think in all places I could just rename this to HMAC secret and that would be just as well. There we go. And then same thing in the other one. I think that's a good name for it. HMAC is message authentication something something. Basically, it's used for hashing, salting, not salting. It's used for this sort of thing. So it may not be the most correct name, but it's probably more correct than cookie secret to indicate that this secret is not just being used for cookies, it's being used for other things that need it. Cool. All right, cool. Now I feel like I can get that to be shorter. Let me think for a second. Okay. Okay, so now let's reverse this. I can give back an ID that it is not easy. I think I can go lower. Now we're down into the realm of something like a challenge token that's, you know, in the realm of what was that bit entropy thing? Entropy. How many bits of entropy? Okay, so if we look at this table, now I think we're down in the realm where something like 8 hexadecimal characters could work. Because you get the ID, you'd have no way of knowing from the ID whether or not your secret value is correct, because the hash that's being done on the server, yeah, I like that. So what could we get it down to? Because basically you've got 96 bits that are unknown. So basically, I mean, anything that you can't hit the API that many times in 20 minutes. So let's see here. 20 minutes times 60 seconds times, let's say 1,000 attempts per second is going to give you this big number. So let's say that somebody can make 1 million attempts. You know, let's even say, you know, add one more zero there, or a couple more zeros there. So can they make 120 million attempts? So we just need to be larger than 120 million, essentially. So that's a million. 32 bits is 4 billion. So 29 bits, I think, should be all right. I think, and just do the math on it real quick. Node math.pow 2 to the 29th gives us, yeah, that's kind of the lowest number I'd pick, but I'd say that's pretty reasonable for most systems. They're not going to be able to do 100,000 attempts per second. So we could go as low as 29 bits. I'd agree with that, which would be 9 decimal digits or 8 hexadecimal. Is that right? Yeah. Huh. Wait. Oh, that's actually 32 bits. Okay. So yeah, this is the minimum number. I should have put some sort of indicator, because these ones that are in bold, I'm just saying whatever the minimum is. Okay. And then how many bits of entropy are we getting with hex? Hex, we're getting, oh duh, 4 bits per character. So with 7, we're ending up with 28. And 28 would be, yeah, we definitely don't want to go down to 6. not for something that lasts 20 minutes. If we cut the amount of time in half and say that, if we went down to say it only works for 5 minutes, that'd be fine. So I'm just going to go in here. I know I'm getting into the weeds on this, but so it is. I'm in the weeds. All right. With that assumed, we can drop the number of required bits for the secret down in the range of 29 or 32 or possibly lower. If the window is smaller than 20 minutes. This shrunk from 2:10 or 5 minutes. Okay. So ideally, what it would be nice is if we could add something that somebody could quite easily copy and paste or type out by hand, that we could send to a phone and say, okay, here's your 8-digit code. Now, the reason that all the way down at 19 bits works for authenticator apps is because it's literally only valid for 30 seconds. But you do have something, like it takes 30 seconds just to get an email across. So you could not go down that far with this. But if we're looking for, I think 8 hexadecimal digits is actually good enough. So I'm going to go down to, dare I go down to 4? I mean, if we've got 96 as our starting point, somebody have to make an API request is the only way to validate this. Yeah, I think we can go all the way down to 4. Oh. It is time to take a break. I'm not ready to do it. I think we do need some minute value in here. Actually, I think instead of having R&D work like this, I think we could do rand secret and then pass in a minimum number, an expiry age, and an encoding. I actually like this a lot. Let's say bytes, expiry age, and what was the other one? Encoding. To do throw error if expiry age don't match up. Okay. Okay. Okay, I kind of like that. Cool beans. All right, I'm going to cut the stream for now. I'm going to come back to this later. I'm going to take a break. But I like this path. I'm going to talk about it with somebody. But I think this is good, because if we can get it to where it's something that could be used as a link or copy and pasted or typed, boom, we're doing great. So with that, I'll go ahead and end this. If you liked it, give it a like. If you're interested in following in the other live streams I do or the Beyond Code lessons, check down in the doobly-doo and leave a comment with any questions or ideas that you have. And if you think there's a better way to do some of the stuff that I'm doing, or you're more familiar with something, I'd actually enjoy hearing about it. Might even use it myself. Adios.